A little bit, shall we just say, a tad more than annoyed. How about ashamed? Thoroughly and utterly and morally ashamed. I listened to a radio programme on Radio 4, and it was talking about how young, vulnerable girls with disabilities are now becoming a target of Muslim grooming gangs. And I put it out on Twitter, and people instantly retweeted it. About 5 people. Now, it wasn't bad enough that only 5 people retweeted it on that particular occasion, that I know they didn't listen to it. And the reason I know is because it's an hour long. So I know you didn't listen to it. I then put the tweet out again, and I started begging. And I mean begging and pleading with people to listen to it. Don't just retweet it. It's not good enough. One of these girls had the mental ability or mental capacity of a 6-year-old child. She was taken to a park, a place where children are happy, a place where children play, a place where children should feel safe. She was tied to a piece of playground equipment, where she was then raped by Muslim men and boys. Boys. And you just retweeted it. It's not enough to just retweet something. You have to listen to it. You have to listen to it, because if you don't, you do not have a jack and danny about what is going on in this country. You can all feign your pretend outrage, but unless you hear what is being done to these girls, your outrage it means nothing. It's not enough to be outraged. We've become a country no longer shocked by the things that are going on under our very eyes, under our very noses. Now, I do put a lot of long hours into trying to make contact with girls and hearing some of the things that have gone on in these girls' lives. I swear to God, I swear, honestly, if you had any concept, she was the mental age of 6, and she was raped. But you see, the word raped doesn't shock anymore, does it? No. So how about we try some new words? See if this shocks you. A child with the ability of a 6-year-old child, so in her head she was 6, was fucked brutally by men and boys. Does that shock you enough? Sure as hell shocks the shit out of me. Stop just retweeting. It's not enough. You have to hear what these girls have gone through. You have to know that some of these girls were taken to flats where they were urinated on, where they were marked and branded and beaten and spoken to as if they were nothing, and told how filthy they were because they were nothing more than white trash, and how much they love it. And one of the men had the audacity to turn around and say, basically, you can't do anything. And why can't you do anything? Well, girls with learning difficulties aren't credible witnesses. So we're going to sit back and ignore all this, are we? We're just going to ignore the fact that these girls are being raped because they lack the mental capacity. It's not enough. It's not enough. The numbers are swelling, and still we sit back and we go 1,400 in Rotherham, 500 in Birmingham, 300. No, let's do it how it needs to be done, shall we? 1,400 in Rotherham, 500 in wherever, 300 in wherever, and get bloody angry about it. Numbers are just numbers. These girls are a lot more than numbers. They're a lot more than somebody's facts and statistics. They are human beings. And they are being raped and they are being ignored. That's just one of the things. And believe you me, on my number of priorities, that one particular thing will push me over the edge every time. I would love to take you on a journey in somebody's head that's been raped, to give you even an inkling. And that's why you have to listen. It's why you read the Bullfinch report and you stick with it no matter how hard the reading is. Because you need to know what is being done in order to even have this much understanding of how it feels to have some dirty, sweaty man on top of you and causing you so much pain that you wish your life would end. And that's what these girls feel. And some of them don't make it out the other end. We women and our children are not safe anymore. How many of you would get into a taxi and feel safe anymore? Unless there was 5 or 6 of you in a taxi at the same time being dropped at the same place. I wouldn't feel safe. My mother of 70 doesn't feel safe. Does your mother? Do you think it's safe for your daughter? And do you know the real reason none of them are getting put in prison? We don't have the room in our prisons to put them away. And they know it. Hence it gets ignored. I say enough ignoring. David Cameron with his promises of, we're going to now start targeting extremists. The trouble is, he thinks people like me are the extremists, not those that are committing the rapes, or those that want to come here and commit acts of jihad. They are not the extremists in his eyes. This is to shut down our freedom of speech. And anybody fool enough not to know that voted for David Cameron, my God. And Russell Brand, with your stupid little top knot in your head, you moron of a man. Oh, I'm just a comedian. Let me tell you something, Brand. You're not even a comedian, because you're not funny. You're not. Lee Evans, now that's a true comedian. That's a man with an art. You have nothing but bad hair, probably bad breath, because you look like the kind that probably shoves shit in his mouth and junk up his nose. Oh no, sorry. You had the money to pay to get rid of your habit, didn't you? These girls being raped, often forced on drugs, can't afford that, can they, Ross? And you with your stupidity of, I'm not going to vote, I'm not going to vote, let's all vote Labour. Well, that backfires because they all voted Conservative instead. And yet Nigel Farage, with 4 million votes, 4 million. Each time we had proportional representation. We need the proportional rep. I'm stumbling because I'm so angry. I'm so sorry. I'm so angry. But we need proportional representation. We need it. So we, as people, get the right to choose. And then you've got people taking the mickey because Nigel Farage did resign. He did keep his word. You'll keep going on about LBC Radio. Here's another one for you. Because you know my number now, don't you? Because when I ring up, you say my name. But you won't put me through. You won't put me through because you don't actually want somebody who's got the balls to give you an opinion that you don't agree with, or doesn't sit there and flounder as you fire 30,000 questions at them, that you sit there and go, do you even know what their manifesto was? Well, let's get this straight. Before I vote, I read a manifesto. Does that mean I've memorised it and I can read it all off? No, it doesn't. Doesn't mean I haven't read it and understood it. Doesn't mean I didn't read it and go, yep, that's me. That's me down to a T. That's what we need. Controlled immigration. Oh no, I know. Let's let a few more in. Let's flog this country to such an extent that we won't know where the jihadist is, or when the next terror attack's going to happen, or how many more rapists we are importing because the EU tell us we have to. And you, Russell Brand, played a very big part in fucking it up for everyone else. Well done, you complete arse. Going on about, oh, we need to worry about our national health. Well, you don't, do you? With your millions to pay for your private healthcare. No, little people like me and little people like my mum, who's 70. Now, she'll suffer. She'll suffer because you fucked it up. Not on your own, admittedly. I mean, nice Ed played right into it, all didn't he? Let's go to Russell Brand's house and I'll sit water like I'm a pirate because I'm a bit of a prick. And everybody will think, Russell Brand, he's my hero. You're no hero, you're a zero. You always have been, didn't like you when you first came on TV, sure as hell don't like you now. And those that I do know that did like you, sure as hell don't like you now. I hope that you end up with no show business. Oh no, that's right. You don't have a showbiz career anymore, do you? You have YouTube, just like I have. You're no different to me. You just have more money. That's the only difference. You have some arsehole getting you little gigs to go and earn a few quid. Oh, that's right. There's another little arsehole likes to get a few gigs. Mr. Al Murray. Can't take John O'Gaunt. Everybody, check out John O'Gaunt's podcast. Check his podcast out. By God, that man is on the money. And he doesn't always say things that I agree with. But he's not afraid to call it as it is. And he asked you, didn't he, Al, to take him on one-to-one. But you wouldn't take up the chance, would you? Wouldn't do it. And then when I came on, when you were taking the piss, and I said to you, just out of interest, and it was a genuinely perfectly polite question, what exactly, other than portraying a pissed up landlord, what exactly do you do for England? Only to be met with God knows how many of your fans charging onto my Twitter to your defence, and all I could get from you, because I purposely spelt your name wrong, I mean, it said A-lister. I would have said more Z-lister, but there you go. But they all charged to your defence, and all you could say was, spell my fucking name right. That's a nice way to talk to Joe Public that pay your wages. Because every person who pays to go and see one of your rubbish shows puts money in your pocket. But that's how you would speak to Joe Public. So you're another cretin as far as I'm concerned. And actually, I'm really glad you did block me, because it just showed you don't have a set of balls either. So that's also a bonus on my part. Now, I had to make a couple of notes of little things, because so much has wound me up this last week that I just can't believe the attitude. That was what I was saying. Sorry, I jumped track, didn't I? LBC didn't want to put me through. Got my name saved. I think I must upset my little. But that again. Didn't want to take my call. Rang me back, put me on hold. Still didn't want to put me through. Who's moaning about how O'Brien, your name's O'Brien, moaning about how Nigel Farage didn't resign. Well, let's get it right. Nigel Farage did resign. He did. And his party wholeheartedly pleaded with him to stay. Now, as a radio presenter, if you suddenly went, do you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I've let people down, or you felt you'd let people down, I didn't get where I was supposed to get, I said I was going to play these records and I didn't, whatever reason, and then you got every single listener pleading with you, please don't leave, we think you're a great presenter, the show will be a great loss without you. Do you not owe some loyalty to those that were loyal to you? Do you not think that in that case, that the people that pleaded with Nigel Farage not to leave did so because they are loyal to UKIP and they are loyal to Farage? And Farage actually went, do you know what? If they want me that much, I owe them to stay and try and finish what I've started. That's an admirable trait, not one that I feel is unadmirable. Is that even a word? I don't think it is, but never mind. I'm sure we'll manage with me cocking up the odd word or two. Now, to really add insult to injury to this week is Saeed Warsi. Congrats to the newly elected Conservative MPs. This new, less pale and less male group is the future real progress. Less pale, less male. Hang on, less pale. And there's a word for this. Bear with me, because there's a word for this. Oh, that's right. It's called racism. No, my mistake. Silly me. Only people like me can be called a racist for pointing out a fact. That's only fair that I get called a racist because I'm pale. That was a racist comment. And racism works both ways, Saeed Warsi. And the sooner that arseholes like you wind your necks in and realise that actually if you want to talk about racism, let's start with 1400 in Rotherham, predominantly white girls, shall we? How about we discuss that? Or are they the wrong colour to be called racist attacks? Is that the truth? I can't stress enough to people, it's not enough to retweet. It's not enough to just know numbers. You need to go and find the Bullfinch report. You need to read it. You need to understand what is being done. We all need to understand threats coming in on Twitter. The guy who made the threats about Texas, it then was carried out, then makes threats about hitting London. Who let that happen? Every idiot that voted the likes of Cameron, and every idiot that couldn't understand that controlling immigration is a sensible thing and not a racist thing to do. So, seeing as that's my rant, and I don't care if it's 20 minutes long, and if you're all bored after 5 minutes and turn it off, well, say la vive, I won't lose any sleep over it. But do yourselves a favour, I've tweeted it out tonight, go and find that BBC4 radio programme and listen to it, because it's worth listening to. In the meantime, on a slightly lighter note, my mum turned 70 on VE Day. So, yeah, she really was the original end of war baby, along with many others. And to every person who celebrated that day, and to every person who celebrated their birthdays on May the 8th, happy birthday. However, it was slightly dampened when you saw the left march in outrage over Conservatives being nominated. How many of you lefty unwashed idiots even bothered to vote? I guarantee there was a lot of you students there who didn't vote. And then you had the audacity to desecrate a monument that was put there for the women's efforts in the Second World War. How dare you? And for people who claim it's just a piece of stone, no, it's not. It's a piece of our history. It's a piece of our respect to those who fought and died for the rights of you to say it's just a piece of rock. Shame on every single one of you. And whoever it was that wrote that, shame on you. I hope that you research your family history and you find out that a member of your family died fighting for this country, because that is what you desecrated. So, sorry Mum, happy birthday. Rant over. Sorry it's so long. Not sorry for any of what I said. Stand by every single word of it. I won't stand by idly. And I'm sick of this double standards. Racism works both ways. For now, everybody take care. I'll speak to you all again real soon.